But if I go to say here, we can see we have a lot of things. So for example, a bronze block. Hello guys, this is Spyderrock, and welcome back to a Minesanity related video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys kind of how I make Minesanity, how I made it, how I make add-on packs, and how you can too if you are interested. I'm doing this of course on Windows 10 edition. However, if you are on, a mobile device and you are confident that you know how file directories work and stuff, then this should be a piece of cake for you as well. This is not a very hard thing. It can be a little bit time consuming. So for the sake of this, I'm going to be adding an add-on to Minesanity, which is the more add-on. Let's see if I can pull it up here. This is the more add-on by Laifu, which adds a ton of really awesome stuff, and this is what I'm going to be adding to Minesanity in this video. I'm going to show you, the process that I do to make it. Even if you don't necessarily want to make your own add-on pack, it could be an interesting process to watch. And maybe you'll have a deeper understanding for exactly how the add-on packs that you may play work. I would like to first shout out Wither Hosting, which is the server hosting service I personally use. They have, just generally good deals all around. You can get 15% off with code SPY15 if you're interested. There's a link in the description, and it will support my channel. So there's two main packs you're going to want to have open. One, you're going to want to download the add-on that you have, is whether an MC add-on or a zip or something like that, MC pack files. And you're going to want to have open com.mojang, which could be located in many places on your computer. For me, this is where it is located. You can kind of see the directory. I will make it. Actually, that didn't really help, did it? Can I zoom in? No, I can mute myself on Discord with Alt, but I can't zoom in. Anyway, for me, I don't know if you can really tell because of the resolution, but that is my directory. Let me go ahead and zoom back out here. Oh gosh, wait, what did I do? Okay, I need to zoom in. This is fine. I can get to things still. Okay, so I'm gonna want to have my the add-on I'm adding to the add-on pack over here, which for me is more, which I have unzipped. Which I have this program called 7-zip, which allows me to do things. You're gonna want some kind of program to unzip like MC add-on and MC pack files. But for me, this is what happened when I unzipped it. It had the resource and behaviors and then the stuff. So we're gonna start with the behaviors. So go into the behavior pack of your add-on pack that you're working on. This is assuming that you've already made an add-on pack, which for me, at least what I would do and how I started it is I just took the biggest add-on I had, which for me was item expansion at the time. And I just built off of that. I changed up the manifest. So if you see in the manifest, you've got your pack.name, pack.description, which for me, since I used Bridge for my stuff, that's why it says that. But normally you'll put your name here, you'll put your description here, put in custom UUIDs, and you're all good. There's generators that you can, if you just look up like UUID generator, but I'm assuming you know how to do most of this stuff, or you can just, add stuff to an add-on that you already have. Anyway, this is simpler than you may think. So how I add stuff is I open a folder, so basically like animation controllers, for example. This is Minesanity, this is more, and then I open up this subfolder as well, which custom item behavior, don't really need to deal with that. So if you see that, you probably don't, I mean, open it just in case, but like this isn't important for this add-on specifically. Let's see, I go back here, animations, for example, I've got these animations. So I'm gonna just click and drag, and then press Control-C, or to visualize it, right-click and copy, and then Control-V, or you do right-click and paste. I'm assuming you know how to copy and paste things. I don't, you guys are smart. At least you're smart enough to know how to copy and paste things. Anyway, you're literally just taking things from one folder and moving them to the other. Now, there's some files that are gonna be a little bit more, like you can't just copy and paste it, and you'll see that in a little bit. But for blocks, for example, you just copy over all of these things. Like, so if there's something in a folder, usually I'd say 90% of the time you can just copy it and then you can just paste it. Not always with resource packs though. So we'll get to the resource pack in a bit. If we do have to deal with folders there, I will show you how to do that. And if not, then we're all good for this one. Then bridge, that's not very important really, I think. Because that's only like that tells Bridge how to operate this pack, but it doesn't tell Minecraft anything really important. The next one here is entities. So if we go to entities here and we just click and drag, hold on, let me click and drag all of this, right click, copy, and then right click and paste, or I will probably be doing Control-C and Control-V. Now, there are 5 files with the same name, so what would these be? I'm sure it's not really a big deal. Some of these things like are gonna be a little bit weird. So like, actually, hold on. We're gonna skip these. Hold on. Wait, I'm gonna abort this because we've got player.json. No, this is an important one. A lot of the time, for example, with this, there might not be anything, or sometimes there is something, and this is when we get into some of the more complicated things. So I recommend a program called Visual Studio Code, which is what I'm gonna go ahead and use. Open this up for this. Oop, I opened the wrong file. Well, anyway, Visual Studio Code, great programming interface, at least in my opinion. I don't have that much experience with programming, but with this kind of stuff, I do. So I'm gonna wanna find player.json here because there can only be one player.json. Everything that exists in Minecraft, there can only be one of them. Now, if we want this to work absolutely like exactly as it's supposed to, we're going to need to go ahead and open up both of these player.jsons with Visual Studio Code. Let me open this folder and then right click, open with and Visual Studio Code. Now you can see here, for example, scripts, animate, and we've got all this stuff. I think there should be something similar to that actually. No, I don't think there is. Let me get rid of this. I'm sorry, bridge file version. That just bothers me sometimes when it's there. I mean, thanks bridge for existing, but okay, let's see. Scripts, animate. So I'm just gonna copy this whole thing. Let's see, animations. So what do we have here? Is experimental, scripts, animate. So we're gonna want these animations here, I guess. We're gonna go ahead and copy this and paste it below. Let's see, animations. Basically, you're gonna wanna make sure everything in this file is in this file, the one in your add-on pack. So this is the one that I have already here for Minesanity. So I'm just gonna paste this here. We've got animations, which, okay, we already have this. So we're gonna copy this one over here. So you can see now we have two animations. It's got this little yellow squiggly line. Now what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna copy the contents. Think of this as like one piece. Think of this as like, I don't know, a Cheez-It. I don't know how to describe it better than that. Think of this as a Cheez-It, and animations is the box of Cheez-Its, and then Minecraft entity, for example, is the, or the description here, I guess. Think of that as like your cupboard. I don't really know how to describe it better than that, so I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna hit Control X, which gets rid of that. Then I can get rid of this animation portion. Control X also copies it. I'm gonna get rid of that comma as well. You know, you can see it was causing problems. Now, I'm gonna hit comma on this one. You can see it's got a little red thing because there's not supposed to be a comma on the last one, but there is in this case. And then I'm gonna paste in this one. So there we go. We have just transferred over this first little part. Now you're gonna kind of want to repeat that with stuff like scripts. So I'm gonna, oh shoot, what did I just open? That's not what I don't want all of those things. I'm working very simple here. So I'm gonna copy these scripts with Control C, and then I'm gonna find scripts here. So we've got scripts, animate, and then now I see that you've got animate here and you've also got animate here. So I'm gonna wanna copy all of this stuff here. In fact, I'm gonna just put it all into this version of scripts because I feel like this is gonna be easier for me to work with. So if I just paste this in here, you can see if I hit a comma, again, actually I'm not gonna need a comma there, I don't think. So I'm gonna paste this thingy in here. Then I'm going to, we've got animate and we've got lucky here. So I just need one of these, let's see. I'm gonna hit enter, I'm gonna make an open bracket. Actually, no, I need an open squiggle, whatever this is called. And then I'm gonna hit enter, and then I'm gonna hit a close squiggle with a comma. Then this one, I'm just gonna put straight up lucky, because that's what is here. I don't really know if this is like necessary for anything, to be honest. I don't know what that does, lucky. But I'm gonna leave this here. Actually, now that I think about it, I have no clue what this lucky script does. Oh, it's up here. That's an animation. Well, for now, I'm gonna get rid of that. I really hope it's not important, but you know, you can see how this stuff could easily get confusing. Now, if we look for component groups, we don't have really anything here that we actually need to add components. We are probably going to have some components here, maybe. Let's go through this and see if any of this looks out of place, which none of it really does. So in our case, the only thing I needed to pull over was this. However, you're gonna wanna look in here through the player.jsons for discrepancies. So if you see, you know, an event here that isn't in your normal player.json or the player.json that you have here, for example, you can see a lot of these things here are a little bit different. For example, astral sword. This isn't a normal thing to have. Now, player.json isn't used as much as it has been in the past. Now normally if it is used, it's not really used for like tools and weapons and stuff, so you'll see it a lot less, but hopefully we should be good here. Now the beauty of Minecraft is if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and we can just go in and try and figure out what would work. That wasn't really a good analogy, was it? Anyway, I'm gonna copy everything except for player.json here, which if I hold Control, I can select all of these things. Then Control C, Control V. I am fine with replacing all 17 of these files. That's perfectly fine. That's just because I copied it over like halfway before the files weren't really there. Anyway, we should be fine with all of these files here from entities. Now to move on to feature rules. These are things that are going to be generating. They have kind of been broken, and features as well in the most recent Minecraft update, but that's only in very specific circumstances. So these all work fine. I've tested more and it seems to be working great. So we've got features as well. So I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna copy them. If you see that, I'm hitting Control A, which selects everything, then Control C, which copies it. And then finally I go over here and hit Control V, which pastes it. Aluminum ore spawn, 822-2021. You can see it's got the same little stuff there. That means I copied over the right thing. And then let's see, what else do we have here? We have some functions, which is fine. I don't think we need anything on tick yet, so we can ignore tick most of the time. Make sure you open tick. If it says anything more than this, you're going to want to transfer it over. However, most things, it's rare that something actually uses tick. So I would say typically open it up just to make sure if it does have something. Let me see if I can find tick in this actually. Tick, here we go, and you can see values, elemental swords. This one actually does have something. So, you know, like I said, it's good to be on the lookout, just in case something needs something. Anyway, we've got items here. So for this, you can just pretty much copy everything in the items folder, and it might have a couple duplicates. I'm really hoping it doesn't have a couple duplicates, but you know, there's always a chance. Now there is one little downside to this, is I already have an add-on here with stuff called Electrum. So this might clash a little bit, and I'm really hoping it doesn't, but I may have to just go ahead and delete Electrum from existence. Like, I don't know, we'll see how this goes. But if it starts having conflicting stuff, I might have to delete one of the Electrums. So that could get complicated. Loot tables, pretty much the same. Control A, Control C, Control V, and you've got all your stuff here as you want it. Let's see, recipes, also very important thing. However, Electrum, this might be an issue. We've got Electrum. Okay, none of this stuff actually has I don't think will cause any issues here. Electrum recipes aren't. Let's see, if we look through here for Electrum. So this is something you're going to want to always be on the lookout for, is if you're combining two add-ons that have the same names for things, you know, stuff can kind of cause issues. However, it seems like all these things have the same like, I don't know, values. So we're just going to copy this over and wish for the best. Here we go. We've got recipes. I'm just going to copy all of this, folders included, then paste it all into here. And it's going to take a second. You can see all the things that it's transferring over, and there we go. Then we only have a couple left now. We have structures and texts. Texts are, at least in the behavior pack, normally not a big deal. But go ahead and copy these structures, and then, you know, just paste them in. These are the structures that spawn in structures. I don't really know how to describe it better than that. We've got enus.lang, which is the US language file for the pack, which this doesn't really have much other than the name and description, which we can ignore since we already have our name and description. If we look in text here, enus.lang, and you can see right here, we have some things which don't really need to have their names here, but we've got pack.description, youtube.com/Spyderrock, you know, that's where you are right now, and Minesanity add-on pack as the name. So, you know, that's for what I'm doing. If you didn't make it in Bridge, like your base pack, and that'll just be in the manifest. You know, if you see manifest here, you've got name and description, which this is how it normally is, just for normal Minecraft. And now we can head to the resource pack. So we go to more resource pack, and then we go to development. Actually, we go to com.mojang, com.mojang development resource packs, and then you go to your resource pack, which for me is Minesanity. Then you're gonna wanna go into each of these things. So for example, animations, there are no animations here apparently. Attachables, we do have some attachables so that we will need. I guess this thing was made with animations inside of the player.json. I don't know exactly how that works, but we've got our attachables here. We can just copy over. So that's for like armor and stuff, I'm pretty sure. Entity, so we've got some things here. These are just going to be like things that define that a texture goes on a certain entity, if that makes sense. So like, you know, the creeper is green. Kind of. That's not a very good way to explain it. We've got models, let's see, entity, which these are going to have subfolders that are going to be referenced. So with the resource pack, you're going to need to be a lot more specific. But we can go ahead and copy over all of these things. And as you can see, Minesanity is big. It's already got a lot of entities, and you can see all of these entity files that are kind of defining them. So those are like model files. So those are like they define like the shape of the mob, like the 3D model. We've got render controllers here, which we've got Electrum, Gear, Entity, or Smelter. These seem mildly important, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy them over. We have sounds and sounds. This is something you're actually going to need to open up and check. So music definitions, for example, if we look, these are all just the default Minecraft music, so we don't really need to do anything. And there's nothing in sound definitions, though sometimes you will need to do things. For example, all of these things do have sound definitions. So these you'll just copy over. This I usually just use text because stuff lines up pretty easily. You just copy it and then paste it. And it's that simple. It's like copying over files, but you have to make sure that you don't mess up the syntax. Now, text here actually is important. So with text in this is the actual like, this is the real text file. So you can see this is where all of the texts are actually stored, like all of the names of things. Now, if I go ahead and open up Minesanity, you can see the Minesanity text file is huge. I've worked on this for a while, like combining stuff. This is enormous. This defines the name of everything that exists in Minesanity. So this is actually a really easy one to copy. I don't know what all these tile dots are for, but just go ahead and copy over everything that is actually needed. And you don't need the pack.name or pack.description if you're transferring it over. Go ahead and copy all of this, Control C, and then just scroll all the way to the bottom of your text file. Wait, hold on. There we go. All the way to the bottom, hit enter. Line 1385 and paste, and then Control S to save, and you can close out of your stuff. Languages, that's already defined in this case. If you don't know where to start with this, just go ahead and make a new project in Bridge, and then, you know, send that over to Minecraft and edit it from there. That would be my best solution. Textures, oh boy, this is when things start to get a little crazy. So if we go into blocks, we can see we've got a lot of block textures here and a lot of block textures here as well. I'm gonna go ahead and copy over all of these and just paste them in. Now textures, for the most part, are fine. However, if you do have things in folders, the stuff in the folder needs to be like declared that it's in a folder. This goes for all texture files. So like with items, for example, which I can go ahead and show you because that's probably where we're going to be next. Well, we can go to items next. So actually, I'm going to go to entity next, but I'm going to go to items here just to show you. So for example, if your item is if this is the texture of your item, you have to have on the actual items, like in the item texture, which we'll get to in a minute, you have to define on there that it's in this subfolder in this folder. So that's just like a little tip that I have. Anyway, entity, this adds some golems now, I just noticed, which are pretty cool, which I'm excited to actually try out because this has been updated since I showcased it. You should check out my more add-on showcase if you haven't already. Anyway, now we're going to move on to items. Then we can go ahead and Control A, Control C, and Control V. Already has something named Jade. So we're gonna skip. This is when we have issues. We have some that are like a little busted. So what I'm gonna do here, this is one of those situations where you have to get creative. You have to think outside the box. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rename this to Jade. Since we have two Jades, Jade 2. Which I actually think, let me see if I accidentally copied over the Jade itself, because I don't know if I hit skip this file. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, no, Jade here is still good. Now, I'm going to take this Jade 2, and I'm going to copy and paste it into here, which should hopefully, hold on, let me just manually copy and paste it in here, because sometimes it doesn't want to, you know, do the right thing. There we go, Jade 2, it's right here. Now, before we go to models, we're going to want to go to item texture. Item texture is a file that allows you to, which I'm going to go ahead and open with Visual Studio, which is a file that lets you define what textures are on what items. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this bridge thing because it bothers me when there's a little red thing. It doesn't cause an issue, but I'm going to go ahead and copy over the texture definitions for all of these items in this add-on. And I'm going to add them to Minesanity, and then we're going to do something a little bit weird. So I'm just going to hit enter just at any random point and paste the whole thing in. Add an extra comma to make sure that it's not like being weird. And now I'm going to hit control. Let's see, jade. It actually shows up as yellow since we have two jades. So that jade, this jade is the one from more. Whereas if we scroll down here, we have a few more things down here, which electrum ingot, we'll get to that. We have jade here. This is the jade from the other add-on from, I think that's, oh shoot, what is it called? Vader's expansion? Yeah, so let's find jade. That's electrum ingot. We'll get to that one as well. Let's see. We're actually gonna have to do some extra stuff for electrum ingot as well. So we're gonna add a 2 here because that jade is jade 2. Now, because of this little squiggle, we're gonna have to go into the behavior pack, I believe. So I'm gonna set this as jade 2. And then electrum ingot up here, which is textures items electrum ingot. I'm going to set this to electrum ingot 2. And then I wonder what the electrum ingot, hold on. Let me look up electrum ingot 2 and electrum nugget. Then we've got all this electrum stuff. And then down here we've got electrum ingot. This is one word, so that's fine. So we're gonna have to open up jade and electrum ingot inside of our development behavior pack for the add-on pack. So if I go to Minesanity add-on pack, if I go to items, then I go to electrum, for example, electrum ingot, we go ahead and open this up. You can see there's an icon, texture electrum ingot. So this little thing that says electrum ingot here is referencing this, but this now says electrum ingot 2. So we have to change this to say electrum ingot 2 for the continuity so it all lines up. Now we're gonna wanna go over to items. I don't know if there's one for jade specifically. So we can just scroll down until EFGHIJ, and hopefully we can find one that just says jade. Okay, this is the Vader's expansion jade. So we can kind of ignore that one for now. I'm actually gonna go to the more behavior pack as well, look for the items. And we should have jade in here somewhere. I think it's in others. Okay, so items, and then we're gonna wanna go into others. In my case, and then go into jade and change this to jade 2 as well for the texture. So we should be all good now because these are in like sub packs and stuff. So, you know, this does get a little bit confusing sometimes, and sometimes things won't work immediately. So you do have to get creative, and you do have to think of, oh, like how can I make this work? Okay, we're gonna go back into textures though, and we're going to go into models now because that's what we skipped before. We can go ahead and close this out. Go into armor, and now we've got some stuff here. So this stuff we can pretty much copy over. We shouldn't have any issues here, but hopefully with the issues we had earlier, you should be able to figure that out. So look at all this armor we're gonna have now, geez. Okay, and then we go into now we need to go into stuff. So we got item texture sorted already, but we're gonna need Flipbook textures as well. Now this is Minesanity's Flipbook textures, and there's no Flipbook textures for this. Okay, we're good. Terrain textures is the block texture list pretty much. So with this, you're just going to want to drag from, this is just a notepad, by the way, which is what I like to, this is called notepad, right? It's called something, I think it's called notepad. Anyway, this is what I like to use when it's not anything too fancy. So I'm just going to go through here and copy all of these. This is actually going to take a second to like get to go all the way down. Copy all of this, then find a place in this where it's, you know, roughly the same. Just hit enter and then hit paste and then add a comma, and we should be good. Yeah, for that. And then now we've got everything from there, and we can go into some of these things. So let's check biomes client. We don't really need to deal with that right now. Blocks, we are going to need blocks, which these define some textures and usually the sound that a block will make when you hit the block, break the block. So you're just going to want to copy that, hit enter, paste it in, it'll fit in right here with the rest of the stuff. I can add my comma, and there we go. We've got this. You can see how this can be a little time consuming and how I don't do stuff so quickly as you would hope I would. Sounds, we don't have any different or like actually we do have some variation in sounds for this. So we will be needing to edit sounds.json. So we want to find, let's see, entities. Just make sure you're in the entities section. You're going to want to add an inner, and then you're going to want to copy everything over. So this may look daunting, but it really is just copy and pasting Now make sure you're not sharing add-on packs with add-ons that you don't have permission to use. However, at least in my opinion, for any add-ons, you don't need you don't need permission for just personal use if you're combining it with something else, just for fun. I think that's perfectly fine. Just don't share it with other people. And now we should be good. If I go into my Minesanity testing world that I've been using, we should hopefully have no issues with all this new stuff. And if we do, I'm gonna flatten out the issue. I'm gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna show you how to figure it out. And I almost hope we do have an issue, because if we do, then I can show you exactly what you need to do to fix said issue if you end up with it. So it's a good sign when it boots up like it's supposed to. That's very good. So now, if I go ahead and say open up my inventory and scroll through, we should see these textures are supposed to not have, or these things are supposed to not have textures. But if I go to say here, we can see we have a lot of things. So for example, a bronze block we now have. These look a little silly, but we do have bronze blocks. We do have a lot of things. Now it seems like something is up with some of these textures. These 3D blocks seem to be doing fine, but some of the textures seem to be looking a little weird. Now I doubt this is specifically an issue with something I just did. I mean, it could very well be, but I think most custom blocks should be, yeah, most custom blocks textures should be working perfectly fine. I mean, look at this. So I believe this is an issue just with Minecraft, because sometimes Minecraft likes to glitch out and not work with the textures of stuff in add-on packs, and it happens sometimes. Like, look, player statues, perfectly fine. Sometimes that will happen. You will have to deal with that, and it could be an error that I had made, and if it is, I will make an update, you know, community post or something about that. But if we look into armor, you can see we now have all of these chest plates available. I mean, all this like onyx, rose gold, tin, fancy rose gold chest plate. I can put it on. I can hop into survival, game mode S, and you can see that I do have this now. If I grab a crafting table, which I can go ahead and make. Also, this terrain is insane. I don't know. I love like Bioplenia or Plenia Biomes, or what's it called? No, not Bioplenia. I mean, that's a good add-on too. What's the it's got a funny name now, and I always forget what it's called. Anyway, I can go ahead and actually, I'm gonna make a workbench. And you can see, if I look through here, you can see all of these things are now like in the game. We've got, I don't know if any of these things are exactly from this add-on that I just added, but basically stuff is working. And if you don't believe me that, like, for example, ores are spawning and stuff, if I go ahead and just /tp @p squiggle 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 2000, I'm gonna go 2000 blocks this way. And then I go ahead and break into the ground. We should be finding some of these custom ores spawning. I mean, it might take a little bit, but if I can find, oh, there we go. We have found some, I don't like this new sulfur. We found some sulfur. So this texture seems to be a bit bugged out. All of them do from this, and it could be something that I did, and I will look into that. But I hope you get the general idea of how I make this and how you can make this. Just in general, you know, this is an issue that I've been having with textures for a while. Sometimes leaving the world and reopening it fixes it. Sometimes it's something in the files. I don't really know what causes that issue specifically. I was having it a lot a couple months ago, just with Minesanity, and I haven't had it happen since. However, this has been happening now, as you can see. So anyway, if you make it to here, well, you've just watched like almost half hour of me talking about Minecraft stuff, so thank you. Comment whatever you want down below. Literally anything will be helpful. Yeah, something's up with whatever I did with this, so you know, that's probably on me, but it could be not on me, but I will look into that, trying to fix it. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you made it to here, see you guys later, and bye.